Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Doug, and for today I wanted to return to the topic once again of the business of baseball caps. There was a headline not too long ago at the start of June of 2024 that didn't get as much attention as I thought it probably could have for us cap fans. And that is, New Era announced plans to acquire 47 brand. So I'll let that sink in for just a couple of seconds here, and then we'll get into it. Now, this news story was available in all the usual outlets if you do a simple Google search. And it did attract some attention on the industry news, watching apparel manufacturers and things like that. But both of these are private companies, so the amount of the purchase or the acquisition has not been disclosed. Although several outlets have reported, probably from the press release, that the combined company is expected to generate $2 billion in annual revenue. And the sale is expected to complete somewhere around the end of this calendar year of 2024. And by all accounts, to me, this appears to be the largest hat manufacturer in the world, at least in terms of revenue, acquiring what appears to be the second largest hat manufacturer in the world. So it is truly a combination of giants. So just to recap, brief history of New Era. It was started in 1920 in Buffalo, New York by a German-American businessman named Erhard Koch. The 5950 was launched in 1954 and became, of course, the cap that we all know and love and the official on-field cap of Major League Baseball. The company is currently led by fourth generation Koch, Chris Koch, and I believe he's the executive chairman and CEO of New Era, although the day-to-day operations are handled by a couple of his top lieutenants. And for their part, New Era was already planning an IPO very soon. That IPO could have raised $5 billion, and that figure could go up if the acquisition of 47 completes before that IPO, which I believe it probably makes sense to do so. And flipping over to 47 brand, that was, of course, started in 1947 by a pair of brothers, the D'Angelo brothers, Arthur and Henry, and they started their company in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, the company is currently run by Arthur's four sons. And again, it's still privately held, just like New Era is. Now, as we consider and get into this a little bit, there are a few reasons why this is surprising, and maybe the initial shock of the headline is really big. But there's a number of reasons why it kind of makes sense for this era that we're in. And there's a number of cultural and business trends that make this seem not surprising at all. Now, I do find it a little surprising because both companies seem to be in relatively good health. 47 and New Era have both been doing their thing, playing to their strengths, and they both seem like pretty healthy companies, honestly. However, there's one big reason why I think this is not surprising, and it's because there is a private equity stake in New Era held by a company called Aecon Investments. And I think a lot of people watching this are probably familiar with what happens with private equity firms and purchases of large companies like this. So they do not have a majority stake, to my knowledge. I mean, it's still the family business of the Koch family, but it's significant enough to where I think they're following a little bit of the private equity playbook and looking to purchase and consolidate competition, especially in industries which might be lower than average growth. And that is clearly exemplified too with this whole era of corporate consolidation. We've got companies buying other companies either to eliminate competition, to consolidate, and it happens most often in low growth industries. So things outside of tech right now, tech and AI and all that crazy Silicon Valley stuff, traditional industries are seeing a lot of consolidation right now. That plus the fact that I think New Era's ambitions have been on display for a little while now. And for me, it really started in the mid 2010s when they actually paid for and secured the naming rights for the Buffalo Bills football stadium. Now that appears to be something that maybe they overextended for, and they've since relinquished those rights and somebody else owns those now. But it did kind of signal a time period for New Era where they just seemed to be interested in building their brand presence. It seemed to accompany some really lavish spending on marketing. Somewhat famously or infamously, depending on how you look at it, during the 2016 postseason, the New Era flag was added to the left-hand wear side of even the on-field caps. Previously, it had been reserved for just the fashion caps, so not the on-field fitteds. But in 2016, when the Cubs and Indians played in the World Series, they all had New Era flags on the sides of their caps. I would also have to speculate that when they see somebody like Fanatics being so successful in the sports apparel and the licensed sports merchandise, if you are the owner and founder of Fanatics and can afford to throw lavish parties with celebrities and athletes in the Hamptons, you must be doing pretty well for yourself. And I think that New Era wants to continue to capitalize on the licensed sports apparel, just massive growth in that area. So what could all this mean for cap collectors and fans like us? Well, I'm not sure that there's going to be any big changes or big differences right away in what we see and purchase from either of these brands, because each of them has their strengths in the headwear business. And I think anybody who watches this channel knows that I love the 5950 fitted baseball cap, and that is clearly the number one asset for New Era. And then on the 47 brand side, they've clearly got a great fan base in sort of the lower silhouette and dad cap aesthetic. But as you consider that a little bit further, you start to think about, wow, there's some overlap here. And New Era makes dad caps in the form of the 920 and low silhouette ones in terms of the 940, which would have some overlap with offers such as the Cleanup or the MVP from 47 brand. So you can start to ask yourself the question of, would New Era maybe eliminate some of those offers in that low silhouette arena and make room for more growth in the MVP or the Cleanup versions of the dad cap silhouette? Would the MVP by 47 brand entirely replace the 940 traditional cap, which is an adjustable with a structured crown just like the MVP? And would the 950 become the only mid to high crown offer in the snapback arena by New Era? And would 47 brand phase out the Captain, which is also a snapback that comes with a high crown and a flat bill when you buy it? These are some of the questions that you can ask yourself about when you combine a company like this. What does it look like when they want to be more effective and efficient with the caps that they offer? And this is often what happens with corporate consolidation. Ultimately, it could end up in less choices for us, the buying public. Now, if you look at the official press release and statement that was issued on June 6th of 2024, you might be able to read the tea leaves a little bit and see where some of this is going, but it's not completely explicit. So Chris Koch says, quote, "We are pleased to have reached this agreement to acquire 47, a company that shares our commitment to making iconic products and delivering premium experiences." He also states that New Era will offer a, quote, "breadth of products across both brands and enhance how we serve our customers and partners around the world. We will also have opportunities to build on 47's strong North American presence internationally in new markets where New Era already has distribution capabilities and a strong customer base," which does kind of make sense because it seems as though 47 has concentrated mostly, maybe exclusively, on North America only, while New Era has been expanding internationally for some time now. So how do I personally feel about this? Well, I said a little bit earlier, and I think that corporate consolidation is a little tough for us as the buyers and users of these products because I think it gets away from giving us more choices, and it's moving towards less choices in the marketplace. And for somebody who grew up believing that competition was a good thing and it brought out the best in the people that were trying to bring products to us, I think that this is probably bad news in general, and it may take some time to play out. But I'm a little disappointed with the move in general, because it just seems like whenever you combine two companies like this with a great heritage, there's no stopping it becoming a little bit more homogenized and bland, and they're just not on their toes anymore to compete with each other. So I think that it could be damaging in the long run to what we get as buyers and wearers and fans of baseball caps of all kinds. Over the last 30 or so years, it just seems like competition as a word and a benefit for our free market system has been declining in importance, and I don't hear people talk about it a lot right now. And it just seems like there's just been this acquisition spree by major manufacturers and the world's largest companies just to acquire brands and go and collect them and just build their portfolio to deliver value to shareholders. But we often lose out when that happens at the scale that it's currently happening in our economy right now. And I think this wave of consolidation has given them a little bit more pricing power, as we've seen in the past couple of years, especially with the kinds of price hikes that were given cover by COVID and the pandemic, but were really just things that corporations wanted to do for a long time with their pricing. As you have less entrants in the market, they have more pricing power to set what they want to get from these products. Now, personally, I feel that some of the old antitrust sentiments should be revitalized, because I believe in healthy competition, and I don't think we in the US have done a good job with creating guardrails for companies that want to do this. Everybody seems to be okay with this party that's gone on in the economy of companies buying smaller brands time after time and consolidation into these giant, massive multinational corporations. And it does not seem that's delivering a lot of benefit to citizens rather than shareholders. Overall, I'm not convinced this is going to be a good thing for you and me, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes and take it from there. Now, down below in the description, you can find links for all sorts of videos where I teach you how to shape, stretch, shrink, otherwise edit and maintain the caps you already own. So check those out if you're further interested. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.